see a bright red meat, you're like, that's gonna be. Is this an ad?
Yeah. Okay. This is our ad read portion.
I'm reading an ad from Mimos. It's only given our dog diarrhea once after she ate it off the floor. So, my wife, we give our dog food. She'll hang out in the kitchen. She's like a sous chef. She'll eat cheese and stuff off the floor. But one time she ate one tiny piece of Mimos pork. And like woke us up in the night like pooping. It was bad. Is that family friendly?
Oh, that's super family friendly. We love poop on the podcast.
Dog poop.
That seems like a good way to get this thing going. Hello, oddballs. We are back in the lab this week. We got a very special guest all the way from North Carolina, now living in Seattle. A stand-up comedian and a copywriter. Took third place in the Seattle International Comedy Competition in 2002 and placed fourth in Nate Jackson's Funniest MFer the same year. You've probably seen him on The Needling, Cut.com, CBC, eBaum's World, or maybe Dusty Slay's Homegrown Showcase. Give it up for Timmy Booth.
Thank you. Wow. Oh, they're already laughing. Just
We all live in an oddly funny world. Oddly funny world. Oddly funny world. We all live in an oddly funny world. Oddly funny world. Oddly funny world.
First name ahead, Mr. Chappelle, are you on? First name ahead, sir. Comedy is coming. It's coming down. Sarge, it's comedy. Cut the cable, drop the mic. It's a captain. Oh, captain, my captain.
As we joked about your mama, we were clowning.
just the look.
Like
I feel like when you were reading that, you said 2002.
2022.
Yeah.
Sorry
I
about
wish
that.
I had so much.
Success.
Yeah.
How old were you in 2002?
I was in 8th grade.
Yeah.
I couldn't look at people. If I had one sick in 2002, my life would be different, I think.
Okay, just a quick 30-second, how would your life be different?
Well, I'm trying to think of who was in the competition then. I feel like Mitch Hedberg did Seattle International Comedy Competition.
Wow. I didn't know that.
I don't know if that was his time, but yeah, imagine I got third and Mitch Hedberg's like winning. It's like, here's an 8th grader from North Carolina who somehow got in the competition, weaseled his way.
Weaseling in. Were loop machines even invented in 2002?
Oh, yeah.
They were around? Okay.
There's like analog delays and stuff. Yeah, for people who don't know, I do use a loop pedal at my comedy sometimes. Last night I tried it at the Hereafter. I was featuring for Casey. I'm trying to remember her last name. Bleep this out.
Yeah, it sounds good. Oh, wow, Casey, that's awesome.
Yeah, no, she's awesome. She was so good. And I was featuring, so I got 15 minutes. I was like, I'll bring my loop pedal and my speaker. And that's the risk you run. It just didn't work at all. And
like they weren't into it, or it didn't, like,
no, the machine was just making a buzzing noise when I tried to plug it in. I'm like, okay, here's jokes instead. And it's like, if I had just planned for 15 minutes of jokes, that would have been okay. But,
yeah.
But I had planned to, blow their mind with some weird looping.
And you know, no loops.
No. So my set became, I was like, does anyone want this trash, this loop pedal? I gave it away to an audience member.
Did you get it back afterwards?
Yeah. I was like, give it back to me.
Yeah, actually, I need that.
Yeah, it's actually, and I was like, I'm gonna start a GoFundMe. Like, I started all this stuff. And anytime a joke did bad, I was like, could you imagine if I had a loop pedal?
Yeah, it's kind of your way out. I like that.
Yeah.
That was the first time you used it. The first time I saw you was at the Seattle's Super Secret show.
Yeah, don't tell it. No. Don't tell. It's super secret.
Sorry, my bad.
No,
we'll cut that part out.
That show's awesome, and yeah, and especially it's like a midnight show, so you can get real crazy.
Oh, for sure, you had great energy. I mean, yeah, I actually only saw you and whoever was right before you, Drew Lopez, maybe.
Oh yeah.
I think that was who was up before you, but that weekend you were headlining Club Comedy.
Yes, right? Yeah. They're the first club to headline me. After that whole comedy competition thing, yeah, they brought me in. they did a test weekend, like a Thursday, where it was like 50 people in the crowd, which was like good for a Thursday. It was fun. And they're like, do a whole weekend. And then, yeah, I get that's what it takes to get on to the super secret show. You know, you have to have a whole entire week. No, I don't know.
Oh, okay. I was like, wow.
No, it was fun though, because that was like, I was practicing all weekend, these longer sets. And then they're like, come to super secret. I did like a 10-minute set. And it was like, just get to do the good stuff.
Yeah. How did you feel like, was that the first time that you done super secret?
No, I've done it back in the day.
Okay.
And I'm a avid, I go there a lot and watch, like, back in the day, like if you go during Bumbershoot weekend, that's like the super secret weekend where like all these headliners would come in and they'd be like, we want more time besides Bumbershoot, but we can't say that we're doing more time. So yeah. Oh gosh, what was his name? Rest in peace. He's Can we censor this too? I can't. My problem is forgetting people's names. Who was this guy? He's from Seattle. He passed away, unfortunately.
Rest in power.
He came to Super Secret Show after Bumbershoot, and just the last part of his act was drumming on a drum pad on a table. And like Richie and Rachel Apjay were like right up front. They weren't married yet. I think this was what sealed the deal. This guy drummed in their face for like an hour. And the owner of the club, I was watching him just be like, this has to end at some point. And why can't I remember his name?
If it ever comes back to you, man, I would love to know.
I mean, I could look at my phone, but is that cheating?
No, it's not cheating. No, I think we got technology. Yeah,
podcast cheating. And it's so rude that I don't know this guy's name because he's so good. Let's see.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, if you can drum on a pad for an hour, or for actually, I can't. I can't drum for 30 seconds. So if you can do it longer than 30 seconds, I'm
so sorry. This is just like interrupting the entire flow.
No, I think that's the power of not doing a live show. You can just splice it, you know?
Yeah, let's splice this.
Oh, we'll get spliced. Have you tossed any beers today?
Tossed any?
Yeah, you tossed any beers to a friend sitting on a couch? Like, were you at the fridge and trying to toss a beer to a friend?
I did not today, no. My wife's been at work. I've just been with my dog. That was a fun video to make.
How long ago would you make that skit?
That was right before... That was my okay. That was when I was getting married, like 4 years ago. Before we got married, we had a bachelor party, and I didn't realize, but like it was a surprise bachelor party at a ball in Seattle.
Oh, okay, cool.
I went and got wasted, and I was like, we had written this script, and my whole bachelor party, I was just like grabbing, like one of the guys there is like an amazing videographer. The other guy is like a production wizard.
Sure.
And so I used my bachelor party to like produce.
That happened at your bachelor party?
Yeah. I was like, you should do it. You should be there tomorrow. Let's do it tomorrow. And like the whole time people were just like giving me drinks. And so I was so hungover when we were filming it, but I made it happen. I was like, let's do this.
Nice.
And so, yeah, it had been an idea cooking for a while.
Now, if you haven't seen it, I'll link it in the show notes so people can go and bump those numbers
That's
up.
me and my friend Henry. Now Henry lives in Boise. He runs Don't Tell Boise now.
Oh, cool.
And, yeah, he's a good guy.
Does he do stand-up or is he just...
Yeah, he's a comedian. Yeah. We used to run a show at a ball. When that was going on.
What's Addaball?
It's a arcade bar in Fremont. And so they had this crazy like upstairs area where there wasn't a lot. Now they have like machines up there after COVID. Our show ended. But yeah, it was a fun. I feel like Seattle needs more like Friday night bar shows that aren't like attached to a club or something. So
how long have you been in Seattle?
7 years.
7 years. Okay.
Yeah.
So I feel like you can speak into this. I've just been here for like 10 months, so I feel like I can't say anything about Seattle. Like I haven't lived here long enough to say, you know, what's going on. What do you do during the day? You're not doing comedy?
I'm a copywriter. Right now, I got laid off from my job at the beginning of the year.
I know what copywriting means, but some of my listeners are from Missouri, and they don't know what copywriting is.
So copywriting is any sort of marketing style writing. It could be writing ads. That I think that's considered copywriting, like for on television. But it can also be like writing. You see something in a magazine, like Think Small. You know, the Volkswagen. That was like an early big copywriting win.
Oh yeah, I totally know about that. Think small, yeah, for sure. Exactly.
Or yeah. Anytime someone's trying to sell you something with words, that's copywriting.
Okay. And sorry to cut you off, but who you work? Where do you? Is that freelance that you do, or?
Or I used to work for a place called Color Creative. They laid off a bunch of people after Microsoft laid off a bunch of people. So I love that place.
Yeah.
Sad that I don't work there anymore. Now I'm a bench copywriter, which is like it's literally like, put me in, coach. I'll do this. I don't know if that's where they got the name of it from, but I'm a bench copywriter for this company called PRR.
Oh, bench. I thought you were saying binge.
Binge.
Like you binge watch Netflix.
Yeah,
You're
they're
saying
like,
bench.
we need you to write 1,000 pages tomorrow, and then we're not going to talk to you for a long time.
Okay. You're on the bench. Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm looking for more full-time work, but for now, writing. It's a lot of government agency stuff. It's very exciting. It's like,
Oh, like super secret stuff, or
no, like drive safe out there, y'all.
Oh, like those signs you see on the highway. They got the clever, like, it's Halloween. It's spooky when people drive with their phone out, like those kind of things.
Stuff like that, yeah. A lot of like web-based stuff. So but some of it's like, oh, you need an enhanced ID to fly after 2025.
Dude,
so
that's not gonna happen. They're gonna keep pushing that thing.
they do
back.
keep delaying it.
And you're from Carolina.
Yeah, North Carolina.
Did you go to North Carolina? It's important to differentiate. I'm learning right now.
Well, like, yeah, Carolina.
just so
that's
people
like,
know.
Yeah, South Carolina, slightly different than North Carolina.
What's the big difference between? I haven't spent much time in either of those.
I would say you can make the difference between, like, the cities within them. North Carolina's got Chapel Hill, Raleigh, Durham. That's like the research triangle. That's like colleges, big name colleges. Right. And then North Carolina's also got like mountains, like Asheville is a big mountain city. And I went to school in Wilmington, which is like a beach town.
That's South Carolina.
North Carolina.
Sorry, my bad.
Wilmington. But it's like an hour and a half from South Carolina. There's like Myrtle Beach, which is like a famously
of course, yeah.
wild place. South Carolina to me feels more vacation-y, but that's because I'm from North Carolina. There's Charleston, which is a beautiful historic town.
My wife went to college there for a year, the College of Charleston.
I love that place. Yeah. Me and my wife got married there. So.
Did you live there?
Yeah, I lived there for 2 years. Yeah.
When was that?
Right after I graduated, I was a film student, and I went and was a production assistant in South Carolina.
For any films that we would have seen? Or?
Well, it was for like TV shows. So the big one from Charleston is Army Wives, which was like a 8-season Lifetime drama. And I was there near the end, but everyone was like such a family by that time because they'd all worked together for so long. And so
like on the set?
Yeah, so all the people were like Charleston people, and then they'd have directors from LA fly out and stuff. But it was like, it felt like a really awesome place to work, even though it was like crazy hours, and I was just like making copies, as an office PA, like handing out scripts. And then I ended up working on a show called Reckless, which was another like drama. Like a lot of stuff got made in Charleston at that time, and then I went back up to North Carolina, worked on like a pilot for a show that didn't get made, and then another pilot for a show that did get made called Secrets and Lies on ABC. And then, became like the assistant to the executive producer. And that was like my last job in film. And my wife had graduated at that time. And it's just like a lot of work,
Sure.
It's like, not that I was shying away from it, but it was like 12.5-hour days. It's hard to do comedy and that at the same time.
Because you started comedy while you were in college.
Yeah.
In Wilmington.
Yeah.
When was that? Like 08, 09?
08, yeah.
08? Okay.
There was a comedy competition at my school, and I saw it the first year, and I was like, I think I can do better than that and like win money. And so I like wrote jokes for a whole year, and then I won the competition for the first time I ever did comedy. I was like shaking.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
You didn't like do like an open mic before?
No, I didn't know what those were. It was like, yeah.
You just went to your school's competition.
Yeah.
How much money did you win? If you
like
can say online.
$150.
That's great.
At
For
the
a
time, I
college
was like,
student to do
this
that,
is good. Yeah.
like, oh my
It
gosh.
changed my life. But then, yeah, they let me like host for people on campus after that for a bit. And then I found Nut Street, which is now called Dead Crow, but it's like the club in town. And it's like one of the most welcoming, like awesome comedy clubs.
Dead Crow.
And they've kept growing since, then. So
That's awesome. Have you talked to Donald Funkhauser in a while, or
no? Where'd you hear about him?
No.
You're like stalking me. Where did I mention Donald Funkhauser? That's funny.
Okay, so do you know the guy? I always forget his name. Who interviews rappers? Who like knows really intense details about people? Oh, it's Narwhal.
Yeah. Nardwar.
Nardwar. I see. I always say Narwhal, but people correct me. Nardwar. I love his interviews, so I've been trying to.
That's hilarious.
Like find out anything I know about can know about somebody. But yeah.
It's funny what I put out there, I guess. Yeah.
Are you guys Facebook friends? Do you get?
I don't think so. I could look it up.
Oh, okay. But you're not in communication with Donald Funkhouse. You're a freshman roommate.
Yeah. Who said I was very loud, which was funny to me.
Now, did you make Donald laugh?
No.
He didn't think you were. Did he go to the comedy competition or no?
No.
No, you guys weren't like buds.
My wife went to the comedy competition, which is crazy.
Oh, did you guys go to college together?
Yeah. That's where we met. I am friends with Donald Funkhauser still.
What's he doing? Was he have his job on there?
His latest picture is from 2012. I don't think he's a very.
Oh no.
Says he lives in LA.
Oh, okay.
People are still telling him happy birthday. Happy birthday, Donald.
Happy birthday. When's his birthday?
That's all his Facebook wall. Someone's given up on social media
when
it's just like
just happy birthday.
10 years of happy birthdays.
That's so true. That is so true. Oh man, he hasn't logged in a while, maybe a decade. Wait, so how did you guys meet? You and your wife at college? Was it like in biology or?
No, yeah, she was at my first comedy performance ever. She saw me win.
And then you're like, hey, can I get that number?
No, I didn't talk to her for years. I was dating someone at the time. We ended up at a party. I had seen her because she lived in my friend's building when I was in my single era. I was like, she seems cool. Like, just she seems attractive from a distance. Yeah. She's a tall blonde lady who wears cool hipster jackets,
Yeah.
And then I ran into her at a party, a prom party. Our friends used to run this thing called Mix Grotto, which was like they would have musicians in Wilmington submit songs to a mixtape. Okay. And they put it out as like, you just put out one song, and then they have like these massive blowout parties and stuff to like release the mixtape. It was really cool. This guy, Justin Chillington, one of the coolest people I know. His last name is Chillington.
That's a great name. Yeah. Chillington.
Yeah. And he embodies it,
Like he's a real chill guy.
Yeah, he's awesome.
Or is it like the opposite? Like he's very hyper.
No, he's definitely chill. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But we would go to these parties, and it was like a similar group of like the hipsters of Wilmington, and yeah, I saw her there, and we talked to each other because I was like, I see you at my friend's building or something. Yeah. And then it was like off and on again thing for a while, and then yeah.
Then you guys got married later.
Yeah. Some people would say, yeah.
Now, who asked who out?
I definitely asked her out, and like I think just within the last year or so, she admitted that the first time we hung out was a date. Like at the time, she was like, I don't think that was a date and stuff.
Oh, like what'd you guys do?
We went to the beach, just me and her, skimboarded. She likes skimboarding.
Oh, that's where you like.
Yeah, you hurl a piece of wood, jump on it into the ocean. It's an insane thing to do, but yeah, she likes to do that. And so I was like, I'll go skimboarding, and she was like, that was a date, like later. But now she admits it. Yeah.
In her mind, what was your first date? Like dinner or something?
I don't know. I tried to ask her later.
She's just like, that wasn't.
Yeah, it wasn't that.
Now, has your snoring gotten better, like in your marriage, or the word around the block is you're a pretty bad snorer.
I don't think I'm that bad at snoring. When I'm sick, I snore pretty bad. Like if I have a cold.
Like I didn't know. I've never heard you snore personally.
Yeah.
Like I haven't been in your bedroom or anything. The word around the block was you snored a lot.
I would throw my wife under the bus as the worst snorer.
In your household or just okay.
Yeah. Although our mini poodle snores pretty bad too. But
Truffle.
Yeah.
Are you guys big mushroom people? Like truffle is a mushroom, right?
Yeah, she just looks like a truffle, like a truffle mushroom. Like you could shave a piece off and it'd be worth like $5,000.
That's how you guys come up with the name?
Well, yeah, we were like, we got Truffle, our mini poodle, 7 years old. We drove to Eastern Washington during the pandemic because that was the only place where cute dogs were available because they were all getting snatched up in Seattle.
Sure.
But in Eastern Washington, they're like, I got this one used. It's got 3 mostly good legs.
In Spokane?
Yeah. Well, it was the Tri-Cities, so Richmond, Richland. Sorry, Truffle.
Sorry, Truffle.
We drove out there. We were like choosing between 2 dogs, and it was actually, I don't know. These people out here are insane about dogs, like adopting
in Seattle
a dog.
or just
in
Washington?
I don't know if I think it's more Seattle, but they're always like, you gotta have 2 acres of property.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
And
which who has that?
Yeah, and they're like fenced in yard for this mini poodle that hardly wants to walk anyway.
Yeah.
But like we had such good references. Thankfully, like our friend Laura's like, oh, she like made up stuff. She's like, yeah, they watch my dog all the time and stuff.
Oh, you had to send references to the breeder.
And we did. I remember it wasn't a breeder. It's like foster dog. This is a dog that was abandoned.
Right, because it was a older dog.
Yeah, and they're like
elderly dog. Sorry,
she's still spry, but they like FaceTimed us to be like, let me look at your apartment. I'm like, here you go. This is where we live. And then we went out there. By the way, it's this place, Mikey's Chance. They have the cutest dogs. If you're looking to adopt a dog,
go there.
That's not from a breeder or whatever. They approved us based on our references alone. They're like, here, we got 2 dogs. One hasn't even been put online yet. This one's Max or something. And they're both so cute. But then I could tell my wife was really leaning toward Truffle. But her name at the time, her dead name, I told my wife's brother this name, and he uses it sometimes, like around to see if she'll like notice. Yeah. Like, that's not her name anymore. But when we adopted her, name was Tally. I'm like, that's not a great name. I don't know.
I have a friend getting married this weekend named Tally.
No, okay. Tally, I'm sorry. It's not a great name.
She definitely does not listen to this podcast. She's not going to hear it. No,
it's not a great name for a dog. For a human, it's a serviceable name.
It's a great human name. Or a serviceable human
name.
That's fair.
I mean, as a Timmy, I appreciate the T vowel double consonant Y.
Of course, yeah. Yeah, it's kind of an odd dog name. Truffle is a really good
dog name. The whole way back, we were like thinking of names. We're like, we can't just settle on one. We were like, Sasquatch, Monster. I don't know.
I like Sasquatch.
Sasquatch would be fun.
That's great. Do you believe in Sasquatch?
I believe what I see. No, I like the excitement. I don't want to know the truth.
Oh, I like that. I like that a lot. Yeah.
I don't think I'm gonna run into one, but like when we're on the Olympic Peninsula, I'm kind of looking out.
Oh, for
like,
sure.
Where's Sasquatch?
If there's one, it's on the peninsula.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you miss being out east?
I miss. Yeah, the people out east are a bit. Even if they're mean, well, like northeast, they're like meaner, but like they'll talk to you.
Yeah.
Southeast, they're nicer, and they'll definitely talk to you, but they might be like subtly meaner behind the scenes.
Now, is North Carolina southeast or northeast?
Southeast.
Even though it's north in the name? That's confusing.
Yeah.
That's America right there.
Yeah. That's like what our first 10 years of school was all. They're like, North Carolina education's bad, but I'm like, no, we still have to spend 10 years being like, it's the north, but it's the south. Yeah. I was like, every day we're like, it's the north, but it's the south.
Oh, that's interesting. Now, how do you keep your hair so nice? Is there like a certain type of shampoo that you use?
I think shampoo is the enemy of nice hair.
Oh, conditioner as well.
Yeah, you gotta find. I found this pretty cheap conditioner. I forget what it's called. But you just condition every day. You run your finger. Like during the pandemic, I started growing my hair long, and my wife found like dreadlocks in it, and she's like, "You got to take better care of your hair." And I'm like, "Yeah, you're right. So you get like a wide toothbrush. You condition, you comb it through, and you can put some like gel or something in at the end.
Wow. Thanks for sharing that.
There you go.
I don't plan to grow, but if I ever do, now I know.
Yeah, and you don't have to do it every day. I don't wash my hair that much.
Like, how often do you wash your hair?
Like once every 3 to 5 days. I would say.
I was hoping you were gonna say days, not weeks, man.
It's like it kind of hurts to like comb it out, so like I do procrastinate on it because like but you should never comb your hair without like conditioner and water in it if you have like long hair.
Only comb it if it's wet,
Yeah.
conditioned.
My parents I don't know, they would be like, why don't you comb your hair? And I feel like I psychically knew the best way to do it. You can't just dry comb it.
You can't just dry combing.
No dry combing. You gotta use protection.
You gotta lubricate. That is for sure. That's important.
Yeah.
Now, I have a bit of a question for you. It's a little bit more comedy oriented. So, so have you heard of Grizzly Bar?
Grizzly Bar.
Yeah, it's in Tri-City. It's in Pasco.
No, I haven't.
Okay, it's like a comedy club in a hotel. All right, so I did a quote unquote headlining set there, like as in I was the headliner for this show. I'm not a headliner. I've only been doing comedy for a year, you know. And on October 18th is my 1 year.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you. I'm not there yet, but the pre-congratulations.
As long as you don't quit in the next 9 days.
Yeah, 9 days. Okay, so I had people tell me, you shouldn't do this. You're not ready. And I totally agree. I'm not ready. But I'm a person that I like to just do things. Like, even if I feel like I can't do it, I want to try to do it. And I'm okay with failing, you know? So how long have you been doing comedy? So have you been doing it since 2008?
Yeah, off and on because working in film kind of took a toll, and
Oh, sure.
being in college, I wasn't as committed. I would.
That's supposed to happen. It's the transition.
It's planned. Yeah. I would say I fully committed when I moved to Seattle, but yeah, I had good experience in the South too. So, but I would say 7 or 8 years I've really been committed to.
Okay, so you've headlined a weekend. You know, you've done that. Now, if you had the opportunity that I had, would you have done it?
Oh I'm so bad at saying no to things that I would have
because
said
you're
yes.
a people pleaser, or just because
I'm like, when is this opportunity gonna come again?
Right.
You don't know. A bird in the hand is worth two in the bush or whatever. But like you're saying, this Grizzly Bar, like if I had looked it up and it was like our headliners have been Norm Macdonald, like Maria Bamford, like
Oh, sure. No, but like they have like
not to throw anyone on the bus, but
sure.
like I would research the venue and be like, am I going to be like a total outlier here? Like, are people going to show up and be confused? But if it's like, if they're giving people opportunities that maybe, you know, you have to do your first headlining set sometime. Like,
sure. Yeah.
And it seems like it's maybe its own scene there, so it's not going to affect you like in Seattle. People aren't like, did you see who did Grizzly Bar?
Yeah, dude. I mean, it was so bad. I mean, like, it wasn't so bad, but it was like, I mean, it was tough. Yeah. There was stretches where I was like, I'm getting laughs, but it's,
Was there a lot of people there, or was it?
No.
Yeah.
No,
So
it was like maybe I hope that they change it a little bit. Yeah, just, I mean, there was like, so
because it's like
it's
the
not
same
set up like a comedy club. I feel like you seat people at the front. Like, you want people filled out. You don't want 5 rows of nothing and then people, right? So that just like changes the atmosphere a little
something
bit.
I've been telling people is my friend Henry, who was in that Toss for Beer video. His whole strategy for seating people was like, you have movable chairs. At first, you just have 2 rows. You let people sit in those rows. And then you have hidden chairs that you bring in as more people show up. So it like forces. I feel like that's the best producing technique that I've seen.
No, that's genius because maybe you wouldn't think about that, but that does change so much. Is everyone's at the edges of the room?
Yeah,
it's so hard.
But I don't blame you for saying yes to an opportunity, and like, I don't know. I don't think it's gonna. Yeah,
have you ever said no to something that you didn't feel like you were ready for yet in comedy?
I don't think so.
You just like every time you had the opportunity, you always said yes.
Yeah,
it wasn't like, well, I'm not there yet.
Yeah, no, I don't think so. No, that'd be. I'm all about like, I'll say yes and then figure it out later, like what's gonna happen.
Sure.
Yeah.
Now, have you been in something you're like, I'm way over and over my head?
I mean, the only time when I was in North Carolina, like even mics were like rough for me sometimes. I'd be like, what am I doing? But like, I feel like you get it out of the mics, and yeah, if you're on a showcase and people are like crushing around, I don't know. I don't think I've ever been somewhere where I was like, I shouldn't be here. I'm like, it just pushes me to be anxious and like really focused.
Sure.
I think it helps you is like, I'm challenging myself right now and I'm going to rise to the occasion. And obviously it doesn't work every time, but I've definitely bombed if that's what you're asking. But,
well, yeah, for sure.
Get around to that. But I've never, it just makes like, I don't know. There's like clubs that are more difficult. Like I love Nate Jackson's Super Funny Comedy Club in Tacoma.
Yeah.
Because it's like the largest West Coast black comedy club. It's not my typical audience. And like, I've been there so many times. It's like hitting your head against the wall. Like, okay, how do I get these people on board with me?
Sure. Yeah.
And I've done really good there, but yeah, I was there a couple days ago and not so good. Like I was like Nate was ready. He was headlining. He was finally ready to go on stage. And I was like, it's an honor for me. You think I'd say like, it's an honor for me to bring up your headliner. I was like, it's an honor for me to get off stage. And people, it was like the loudest clap I've ever heard. I'm like, no. So that's like, I don't consider that a failure. And I think Nate, realized that I'm like working on there and try to work out stuff there.
No, you're good.
Try to figure out how to play to that crowd, but the only way to learn is to try.
Yeah. That's, I mean, yeah, for sure. Yeah, that failure is how you learn. Now, how did you bounce back? Like even just this week, like, or was it last week that you said that you? Were there?
It was, yeah, that was a few days ago.
So you've been doing it 7 to 8 years. You have like a rough time.
Yeah.
What happens? You get off stage.
It was weird though, because I think, here I am justifying it, but I think people there are ready to be mean to someone that's not doing their best. Like they can tell,
Oh, sure.
They're like, he's not resonating that well. People were like taking pictures with me afterwards. So like, this is weird.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Like, it seemed like I did really bad, but they're like, I want a picture with this guy. And it's like, maybe I gave them a different type of entertainment than I wanted to, but I think they were still having fun.
Yeah, they still had a good time. Yeah.
And yeah, I don't know. I justify it that way. And then I'm like, I'm going to be gone next week. So I'm like, it'll be a nice break. And it's definitely like, stuff like that makes me want to write more and like watch more comedy, and
like
it's
it
like
drives
a cycle.
You deeper
Yeah.
into it instead of away from it.
Yeah. I think that's important. Like maybe you need like a couple days up. Like I'm not immediately going to go to Nate Jackson's open mic like next week, but like
Yeah.
when I go, I do want to go back, and I want to, cause he's so good at his own club and stuff. He's like one of the funniest people I've ever seen. And it's like watching him succeed in the room that he built. And it's like, there's this certain vibe he presents, and people that are expecting a certain type of comedy, like a very interactive, which I try to get more of too, but like, then you need those awesome jokes. So it's like, I feel like those are the two modes I'm in when I'm trying to get better at comedy. One is like getting better off the cuff if something doesn't work or you notice something in the crowd. And the other one's like writing. And it's like two different muscles that I'm constantly like, well, I got to work on the free flowing thing, or I got to work on the writing a bunch. And I think I'm leaning toward more writing right now.
Yeah. Because you feel like that's where you're the weakest, or because that's where you need to?
Yeah, I feel like that's where I'm the weakest right now. Like jokes I used to love, I was telling them, and I'm like, my heart wasn't behind them. I'm like, I've told these so many times. Like, yeah, I think like you sort of get an instinct for it. Like these jokes are wearing me down. Like, I don't know. They're still good. Like, I don't know. If I had to go up right now, I would tell old jokes.
Those jokes, yeah.
But it's like, I can tell that it's time to get in the lab. The lab,
yeah. Here we are.
And that'll just be me going to a coffee shop and like writing.
Is that what that looks for? Like, is that like your most creative space if you get out of the house?
It's not the most creative space. It's like, it's what activates my brain into the mode. So like watching really good specials, going to a coffee shop, failing at writing something, but then my brain's like thinking about it. And I think that's when like jokes get written, is when you're like writing every day, even though what you write isn't a joke necessarily. Like your brain is like on the lookout. It's like, oh, this is what we're looking out for now.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. Is there like a really good special that you watched recently that's inspired you?
Yesterday, well, I think 2 days ago, Jaron George from Portland was at my house, and he put on Michelle Wolf's special. She has like 3 on Netflix, and they were really good. Like, she's saying some like messed up stuff that I don't even know if people in Seattle would laugh at it, like, because it's so. She's like the liberal comedian, but she's saying these like more out there things, and like, not that I necessarily want to go down that path, but just the writing was so good.
You can appreciate, even though it's like maybe different than what you're trying to do. You can say, oh, this is really good.
Yeah. And I saw Rory Scovel live at the Neptune in Seattle. He's like one of my favorites. And I think he goes through the same thing I'm thinking about, because he did this YouTube special where it was like 5 nights in Atlanta, but he was improvising every time. He had no written material. It was like naked brunch of a stand-up special, and he edited it all together. But when I saw him, it was an hour of like finely crafted like jokes.
Sure.
So he switches those modes,
and he can just go between them.
Yeah.
But he's a Southern comic too, right?
Yeah. He's probably my favorite. Him and Nate Bargatze, Dusty Slay.
Of course. Now, you've worked with Dusty.
Yeah. So when I was in Charleston during that filmmaking time, when I was a PA, Dusty was like hosting open mics in Charleston, and so I'd go. He was like kind of the mascot of Charleston comedy. Like, you know,
Sure,
he was the big fish in the small pond. He eventually moved to Nashville and is like blowing up, but he was always there for like advice and stuff. And yeah.
How long were you guys both there? Like, how long did you get to?
Like 2 years, I think. Okay. He was there before me, and then I moved, and then I think he might have moved before I moved, but yeah, I was there for like a 2-year span.
And what is Dusty Slay's Homegrown showcase?
Oh, that was just, him in Charleston. He would run a comedy showcase at the Improv Club.
And you just got to...
Yeah.
How did you get on that? Like, how did that...
Oh, just him seeing me at mics and stuff, okay. Yeah. It would be like a bar show here or something, but I threw it in my credits because people know who he is. And
sure, yeah.
I'm proud that he saw me and was like, this guy can be on my show.
No, I think that's a great, I was just curious, how'd you like go from, not knowing him to being on his showcase,
Yeah, just going to mics. Like, he would run this mic at Big Gun Burger, which was like a burger bar in Charleston, and it was like, pretty chaotic. It was never perfect. Like, it was a weird Wednesday night, but like it was fun, and like that was like our community hub for a bit. There's this other place called Joe Pasta. Those were like the 2 mics. Oh, Tin Roof open mic. This guy Jason Gross still lives in Charleston. That's where I felt like I could really be weird and do like off the cuff stuff, try different, ways of telling jokes and stuff. So
now, do you have like a favorite story of interacting with Dusty?
Oh, I don't,
because Dusty's one of my like favorite comedians. As well. Yeah.
Well, one day we got booked on like a Comic-Con show.
Okay.
And it was me and my friend Andy Ryder and Dusty, like telling jokes in like a hotel conference room to nerds. And we left, and there was like one of the original R2-D2s was out there being like remote controlled. So we all took a picture of R2-D2. When I like look at the memories on Facebook and stuff, I'm like, yeah, that was pretty funny. But I'm trying to think of other memories of Dusty. I don't know. He was just always like a great guy to like talk about jokes with. And I went to Laughs Comedy Club. He was headlining there. Yeah. So I got to open for him. And I guess it was funny. He was doing like the state fair, and he called me up. He was like, I'm in Seattle. So I like drove to his hotel, and he was like smoking a cigar, and we just had a nice chat. Like, that was the most recent thing, but yeah, he's cool.
Now, are you kind of a nerd, like into comics?
I would say more. I read a lot of books, like sci-fi and stuff like that, and play video games. Yeah.
Are you into Dune?
I've read Dune. Yeah.
Okay, I'm in book 5.
Oh damn.
I'm deep.
Yeah. I've only read the first one. People are like, when you stop enjoying it, stop reading, because it just goes on forever. Like his son takes over.
Yeah, it's a lot. But I'm just such a I want to finish it.
Yeah. How many are there?
I think there's 6.
Okay.
I think there's 6 in the original. I think there's some spin-off things that go deeper into random topics, but
I've been reading The Book of the New Sun, which you might like if you like Dune.
Book of the New Sun. I haven't heard of this. Who's this?
It's this guy Gene Wolfe. He it's like a dying Earth style book where it's so far in the future that the sun is dying.
Oh yeah.
And it's this weird mix of medieval fantasy with sci-fi technology, because the Earth's been around so long, people find weird devices and stuff. But at the same time, the common people just have swords and stuff. So it's but it all takes place. You can look it up. But welcome to the comedy podcast. But it's about this torturer. He's part of a torturer's guild. His name's Severian, and he becomes the autarch. He tells you this early, but the autarch's the leader of civilization, basically. And it has very a lot of Christian tie-ins. Gene Wolfe was a converted Catholic late in life. And he helped invent Pringles, which is a fun fact.
No way.
So
how do you help invent Pringles?
He was an engineer who built some part of the machine that makes Pringles, and then became a sci-fi writer and a Catholic later in life. So it's a very strange mix of things. Life. And it's something you have to read over and over. I read the books, and now I'm listening to a podcast analyzing the books, and I'm learning things I didn't even realize from reading it the first time.
You missed parts of it. Yeah.
It's intentionally very misleading and stuff. Like you meet a character, and then one book later you realize it was a robot the whole time, because Severian was raised by torturers, so he's very sheltered. So the person describing the world to you is a very sheltered individual who's this guy seemed weird, and it's oh, he was a robot. That's why. What the heck? Yeah. Why didn't you just say it was a robot? But he doesn't know. It's crazy.
Now I'm interested. What's the title of this again?
It's called The Book of the New Sun. Is the whole series, but the first one's called Shadow of the Torturer.
That's a great. Now, one time I was my friend Kyle, he's really into sci-fi as well. He's kind of actually got me into it, to be honest. And we were on this trip. I think we were going to Glacier.
Oh,
and
nice.
He was listening to, it's I actually don't know if you could put this in sci-fi, but it's the Dark Tower series.
The Stephen King super long one. Yeah.
And I woke up in the midst of this scene where this demon was coming out of a woman's reproductive system.
Stephen King, baby.
And now my friend Kyle it's very out of character that he would. Anyway, so whenever I think about new sci-fi books and my friend putting me onto him, I think of that moment when I woke up in the car outside of Glacier to him listening to this audio, and he was not really embarrassed about it. It was just I promise you, this isn't what the book is.
Yeah,
this is the one-off moment.
That's funny. Yeah. The Book of the New Sun, some really messed up stuff happens, but because it's told from the point of view of a torturer, he downplays everything, and only looking back, you're dang, that was pretty messed up.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's interesting. Stephen King though, he goes off. People always talk about it and the.
Now I can't get down with it. Are you about it?
My wife, it was one of her favorite movies as a child, which I'm that's pretty messed up.
That's crazy, dude. My neighbor pulled this prank on me. Okay, when we were really young, her name's Erin. So shout out to Erin for pranking me. It was very traumatic. I came home from school one day, and there was this note, and there was this piece of wood in it was like a clue, and I can't remember all the details of this because it is a little traumatic, but there was this it was something of hers, but it had blood on it.
Jeez.
So, and then it had another clue. say these are my timing clues to move on to the next segment. Things falling off the wall. But anyways, they were trying to prank me that because we had just watched it and it terrified me. I wouldn't walk over like storm drains or anything.
Oh yeah, or red balloons.
Yeah, dude, it was, and like there was this whole thing like it was chasing our friend group in the neighborhood, but it was her and this older girl that were pranking me, and it ended this one day with like this note that like, say goodbye to your friend.
Cool.
It wasn't funny. It was just traumatic is what I'm trying to say. I didn't enjoy it. Never have.
Not an It fan.
Not an It fan, but I'm a big fan.
That's rough.
Yeah.
Did you end up talking to them about that later? Like, why'd you do that?
You know what? I don't know. Maybe it's something I could enter back into with them and reach out to on Facebook. Like, what's up?
I got pranked a lot as a kid. I was very gullible, so I feel you. Now,
is that what made you funny? Do you think like there's like some
outsiderness? Yeah.
Yeah.
I often had thoughts like my friends would say weird stuff like we're aliens, but I don't know if maybe they said that once and I would like obsess over it. But I remember thinking like my whole family is aliens and I'm the one human. Like that's like the sort of outsider attitude I had my whole life. Just like,
do you feel anxiety. Like that's your outlook in comedy? Like that's your perspective, like as of an outsider?
For sure. Yeah. I think about that a lot. Is like, even the more I feel like people have really accepted me in Seattle. They've seen me grow as a comedian. They're all awesome. But I still think I'm like a weirdo outsider, which is true to some extent. There's probably part
like
A, part
within
B.
the community of comedians here.
Like for a while, I was like, oh, there's all these cool kids comics. And I'm like not part of that. And, I find my own crew and stuff. But I don't know. I feel like everyone accepts me now, but I still have this weird chip on my shoulder or something.
Sure. Do you feel like that motivates you and that's why you keep it there? Like you don't want to lose it?
Probably, yeah. It helps me do well, I think. I'm like, I gotta prove these people wrong. And they're like, this guy's gonna be great. I'm like, I'm gonna prove you wrong. I'll show you that I'm good at comedy. And they're like, we're really here to support you. I'm like, I'll show you. And they're like, we're here. We're fans of you. I'm like, no, I'll show you that I'm funny.
No, I do think you're very funny. And you've been doing comedy. I feel like you've been doing festivals recently.
Yeah, a lot of traveling.
Where have you gone? Like, I feel like you've done at least a couple over the last month.
Yeah, right? I did. I was gone from Seattle for 3 weeks out of September. So I was in North Carolina for the North Carolina Comedy Festival, which is like in my parents' hometown.
Oh, cool.
So I got to stay with them and yeah. And then I was in Detroit for the Motor City Comedy Festival. That was really fun. I love Detroit. I'd never been. And then I was in Calgary for the Craft Island Comedy Festival. That was my first time in Canada outside of like Vancouver.
Oh, Canada.
I loved it. Yeah, we went to Banff. You were talking about glacier and stuff. I feel like Banff's like the glacier of Canada.
For sure. I think that it's all tied in, right? Or like it bleeds into each other maybe in some way.
And that was like mind-blowingly beautiful. Yeah, and we got back a couple days later. Our parents started messaging us this news article, like couple and their dog eaten by grizzly bear in Banff.
It was like where you're at. Like,
I'm like, yeah, I already told you guys I was home okay, but they just kept sending it. I'm like,
yeah, it's not us.
Do you think this is the bear texting you right now?
Yeah.
But yeah, we it's cool because you can bring your dog to national parks in Canada, but I guess the downside is you might get eaten by a grizzly bear.
Yeah, there's pros and cons to everything. Now, how did you decide, or like, did you just apply to a bunch of festivals, or how did you?
Yeah, every year I apply to a good amount, but I think I went overboard this year because, I applied to a ton, I get rejected all the time, and now I have like the Seattle International Comedy Competition credit. I have a good tape with the loop pedal. It's like, it was me in Vancouver, just like in a theater setting, doing loop pedal stuff. People loved it. And so now I applied to the same amount of festivals this year, but then way more said yes. And I was like, oh, and that's I have a hard time saying no to things. So I'm like, I'll do all of it. And luckily I got laid off from my job, knock on wood. No, but because I did, I'm just like, oh yeah, I'll embrace all the acceptance. A lot of them don't pay you. You have to pay your own flight. Calgary one, they paid for my play and hotel and stuff.
That's great.
Yeah. So
How long have you
get
been
opportunities.
applying to festivals? Like, when did you decide it was worth it to pay out, $20 to $50 to, apply for?
I think it was probably when I was working in film, because the thing about working in film in the South, I'm working 12-and-a-half-hour days. I don't even have time to spend money. I'm paying like $400 in rent and getting like overtime every day, making, good money for the age I was and where I was. I was like saving up money. I'm like, $20. That's like, 2 hours of my 12-hour day I did yesterday. So I felt like pretty financially all right. Yeah, if you need to save money, go to the South. It's so cheap.
Yeah, that's for sure.
I mean, I think it's changed now. Charleston's kind of expensive now. People say Wilmington is, but I think you could still live pretty well down there for not a lot of money.
But now you live in Seattle and you're still applying.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I had a decent job in Seattle, and then now I don't, so I'm watching my bank account, dwindle. But we'll figure it out. I'll probably apply to less next year.
Yeah.
Another good thing, though, right now is that my wife works on like a tourist boat, like the whale watching boat, and they have a program where like tourism professionals can fly for free on like Alaska Airline and stuff.
Oh, that's awesome.
So yeah, most of the flights I've taken this year were like through her work for free, which is, you have to pay like the tax or something.
That's a pro tip right there.
Yeah, get a wife on a whale watching boat.
Yeah.
And like, people in Detroit are super generous. Like I stayed with the comics, so I didn't have to pay for a hotel there. And North Carolina, I was just staying with my family. Like there's ways to make it work. And I feel like comedians are really open to like, I mean, we let people stay on our couch here all the time, and people.
It's a really cool community.
Yeah.
I feel like I heard a lot when I moved to Seattle. It's just like the Seattle freeze. Like it's going to be really hard to meet people. But I feel like the comedy community has been so welcoming.
That's like, yeah. When I talk about how the South is like friendlier, it's like outside, because I would have no friends outside of comedy. I think in Seattle, people are like extremely shut off. But comedy, you're like, oh, I'll see you at this mic. I'll see you at this mic, and like
see you around.
I remember people being so kind to me when I first moved here from comedy, and like Maddie Downs and Daniel O'Connell, they like live in LA now, but I remember them being so welcoming, and like my friend Henry and Josh, and you meet people for sure. Without that, I'd be like, I'm leaving Seattle,
Yeah. But you stuck around and you've headlined a weekend at Club Comedy.
Yeah.
What was that? Walk me through, what was that like going from not headlining a weekend to you've got 4 shows?
It was, the first show I headlined was on a Thursday. That was like their tester kind of, and I think Rick did a good job of like easing me into it, because he's like, just do this one Thursday, and I told all my friends and they were hyped, so it was like a big friend presence.
Yeah.
And I had just gotten laid off from my job then.
So
And
they're like extra motivated.
my last message on the Teams chat, which people were talking to me how funny it was, I was like, I don't have a job now, so if anyone wants to come support me do comedy. And it worked.
And
like
they showed up.
Yeah. And then a lot of my set, that let me talk about that for part of my set. So yeah, it was like all these people from our work, and I was just talking about getting laid off and like making them uncomfortable. But we tied it all together. But yeah, so after that, there was sort of like not as much hype for my headlining weekend. Like people came out and supported, but it's like over 4 shows. So it's like people don't know which one to go to. I definitely had okay shows. That Thursday show was like the best, but the rest were fine. And he put me up in the off season, like the summer when no one in Seattle wants to see.
Everyone wants to be outside. It's so
Yeah.
nice out. Yeah.
So that's kind of his way, his easing in to headlining. Like he's like, how does Timmy do on a Thursday? How does he do on a weekend in the summer? And eventually it'll be like winter weekend. You got to build your way up. So it's still part of that. One of the shows did get canceled because no one was there. So I was like, I did 3 shows instead of 4, but
yeah.
I thought they were all really fun. And that's part of like the being loose on stage, is like doing 45 is like, you never know what crowd's got to show up, and you got to be like on your feet to be like, okay, I'll talk to you about this or this. Who's this? What's this? Not crowd work necessarily, but tying your jokes into what the people want to talk about, like making it conversational, especially.
Do you have any tips for younger comics who haven't been doing it 7 to 8 years?
Yeah, I mean, just keep writing. I mean, I wrote for a year before I ever went on stage. I think that's the easiest thing to get good at quickly is like watching stand-up specials, hearing the format of what makes you laugh, you know. Why does Nate Bargatze make me laugh? And he's like a hard one to even figure out because he doesn't. He's not hamming it up at all. He's just telling stories, but like the way he like his rhythm and stuff, but his writing. It's like find someone who's a good writer, emulate them. Don't like steal or anything, but like, you know,
How do you not steal?
It's like you hear their cadence, their perspective, and you're like, that's interesting. It might make you think of something in your own life. I think drawing from personal experience is the way to both make it universal, because the specific becomes universal, and also creative and original. So like, I think if you're trying to make broad sweeping statements about society, that can get problematic and also hacky and stealing from people. But if you're like making a statement about society through something that actually happened to you, I think that keeps you original, keeps you from like punching down or anything like that.
That's good. That's good. I like that. Now, you feel like you're kind of a weird guy.
Yeah.
And we live in a weird world. And I don't know if you heard the emergency notification on October 4th, but did you forget who you were? Actually, have you been vaccinated? Sorry, with the COVID-19 vaccine?
I have been vaccinated.
Did you forget who you were?
Yeah, I was like, wait, no. What
like
do you
the
mean?
Nanoparticles got activated?
It shook me awake. No, I remember I was playing Counter-Strike, the new Counter-Strike 2.
I don't even know what that is. Is that a video game on the PC or something?
Yeah, it's a old school shooter that they just made a new version of. And I was like in a match, and I was like, I need to check my phone, but like I don't want to lose this match. Yeah. So I like waited till the end of the round, and then I was like, oh, a test. Okay, this was all a test. They're saying how I would survive in a military situation.
Did you hear about it beforehand? How it was gonna happen? Or
no?
Oh, okay. You missed
Did
out.
You knew?
Oh, I knew about it. Yeah. I heard all the conspiracies. Like it was all part of the plot from the government and to activate what they put in us through the vaccine, and it would take a while for it to take effect. So
you think about today,
what was that?
Like today, you think it's taking effect, or
oh, they said that you won't. It will take. It's like a slow build. Like you won't see. You'll be changing. You know, like whenever you gain a little bit of weight, you don't see it. You know, because you're gaining it slowly.
It's like boiling a frog or whatever.
Exactly. That's what's going on.
They'll do another. Then there'll be like an emergency alert every hour.
Well, I mean,
you think it's already activated? They don't have to do anymore.
They don't have to do anymore. The frequency already activated the particle. They're going to control our brains.
I see.
Yeah. And that's all tied up with AI, like with the robots.
Okay.
Yeah. So are you pro AI, like generative AI?
I think it's not as powerful yet as people think it is. Like, if I read something written by AI, I'm like, that was written by AI. Or if I see art made by AI, you can tell a lot of the times. But maybe this new
the
5G activation is to make us unaware that we're just in AI.
Yeah, it's all part of it, man. We're in the simulation. And did you know ChatGPT can see and hear now?
Really?
It's like the newest rollout. Yep. Yeah, so you can I saw this video of this guy asking it how to fix its bike, and it was directing it how to like take pictures of the bike and say, oh, do this, and then show me what tools you got, and I'll tell you which tools to use.
That's crazy.
I mean, we're close, you know.
Yeah, they just came out with DALL-E 3 this week or something like that.
What's DALL-E 3? Oh, that's like the
image creation.
Image creation, yeah.
But you have to go through like Bing Images to use it. Log in with your account, give them all your info.
Yeah, of course.
No, it seems cool. I don't know. I still could I feel like I can tell. Like there's certain comedians and stuff using AI to make flyers, and I can always be like, that's AI. That's it.
Oh, I mean, I use it all the time.
Yeah.
For social media posts and whatnot. Yeah.
If you're doing a lot of social media, like mass, I can see it. I don't know if I've seen any of yours made by AI. Maybe
That's
I can't
okay.
spot
Most
it.
people haven't seen anything that I've done anyway, so it's all right. Now
I know your comedy is written by AI. though.
yeah. Everything.
Your jokes are all like, as an AI algorithm,
Yeah.
I can't comment on
Yeah.
wokeness, but
Exactly. Now I am curious. Have you heard about the people disappearing?
no.
Now, there's been a lot of videos coming out, people in hospitals. There's this this video I'd like to show you real quick
Okay.
of
Oh,
this
gosh.
this bus. I'm not sure. I can't remember where it was at, but it was like this. I'll set it up. This this bus driver was just driving down the road, and then this happened all of a sudden. So if you can see this,
Okay.
Can you see that?
Yeah.
Hey, you kids, step forward, please. Facing forward, thank you. That's what I like.
Whoa.
And they're just gone.
Wow.
Everybody hang on!
And he's freaking out, right?
Wow.
So this is footage from the bus, and then here is the police is talking to this guy.
They're gone. I was just driving down the street. I look up, and they're gone. It was just vanished. I couldn't believe it.
Okay,
There's no
cut the
accident.
bull.
There's
This will
no-
go a lot
Cut
easier.
the
What did
bull.
you do with
There's
them?
no accident here, okay? Look around the bus.
All right,
There's nothing.
slow down. Slow down.
Okay.
Slow down.
Okay.
I know you didn't get in an accident. You just told me that.
Okay.
The kids are gone.
They're gone. I don't know where they went.
How many kids total?
45, 50.
45. He didn't count.
Stand right there. Stand right
Watch
there.
this. He's in the bus.
Hello?
The police officer's in the bus.
Wow.
Anyone on the bus? Hello? Is anyone on the bus? Can anyone hear me? If you're on
And
the
there's
bus,
nobody
please
on the
pop up.
bus.
Stick your head out.
Timmy,
Say
what's your
hello.
take?
My first instinct is that it's fake.
You think it's fake?
I'm a curmudgeon, but I'm thinking it might be part of some sort of promotion for something.
What are they promoting? Like
Like
transportation?
the Leftovers 2 or something, you know.
Oh,
Or
I didn't even hear about the first Leftovers.
yeah, is this HBO show where half the people disappear on Earth?
Oh, okay.
Or what's Kirk Cameron's one? The Left Behind.
Left Behind, yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
Because they're talking about like the rapture.
Yeah.
Is the rapture happening? Do you believe?
I'm just very cynical from anything I see on the internet.
It's like hard to believe. Yeah. But
Yeah.
there's like other videos like this, but you think it's all just a marketing scheme. Like
That would be my
they're
thought.
gonna reveal it in a couple weeks. Like you've heard about
Yeah.
the disappearances. Come
The
watch
guy,
the new
it's just-
Amazon series or whatever.
I feel like the bus driver was an actor in that video. I can't help it. Maybe that's like, maybe I'm too cynical. If something really crazy happened.
Yeah, it's hard to know. How would you react if you were in a bus and you're trying to convince a police officer that 50
Yeah.
children disappeared and you had nothing to do with it?
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, he's got the footage, obviously, of the bus.
Yeah, but maybe you're not. Are you thinking about that? You know, if you
No,
hop
yeah.
off the bus and there's all these kids are gone, you're just and the cops come to you and you're like, "Where are the kids at?" And you're like,
I would say the thing
"I
that
don't know."
I've seen recently, and like at first I was like, oh, this seems weird and stupid. But the only conspiracy thing, the lady on the plane that's like, he's not real.
Oh, you believe her?
Yeah. She didn't seem like an actor to me.
Oh,
That guy
she's-
seemed more like an actor.
So you believe the airplane lady over the bus
yeah.
driver? Okay, all right. Any other conspiracy theories that you believe in?
I as a kid I used to be all about it, you know, go online and look up like urban legends and stuff. I'm trying to think of anything now. There was a time in Washington State where a bunch of feet kept appearing on shore and stuff,
What?
like human feet. And my wife claims that while she was driving on like the San Juan Island, she saw a foot on the side of the road. And she didn't turn back and look, but she's like, I saw a foot on the side of the road. So I'm like, I don't know. That's just creepy to me.
What was the theory that people were?
Something about just bodies wearing away at the ankle or something, feet washing on shore.
So weird.
Yeah. I guess there's no real conspiracy there. It's just like creepy. We went to Banff. There's a hotel there that's famously haunted. It's now called like the Fairmont Banff. And
What's it haunted by?
there's like 3 different ghost stories. We listened to a podcast on the way there, and we made sure to like go there to look at it.
Yeah.
But all the signs were like, okay. So the craziest story is that a guy went there like a long time ago because it's been open for like 100 years or something. This guy and his daughter and his wife, he murdered them and killed himself in this one room. That's like room 854 or something. And every floor in the hotel has a 54, like 754, 654. 854 doesn't exist. It's like closed off. And they say if you like knock on the wall, it's like hollow because the hotel, and like there's 2 other ghost stories. If you ask hotel staff about those, they say like, oh yeah, they'll tell you more. But if you ask them about this one story, they're like, that's an urban legend. That's not real. They're like told to like shut you down.
About the 854?
Yeah. And so we went in there and tried to get to floor 8, you know. We didn't try too hard because I didn't want to like cause a scene. But there was so many, like all the stairs were like customers only, like hotel guests only past this point. So there's like stores at the bottom. You can walk around and then like you can't get up. We tried. But yeah.
Now you believe in ghosts.
I don't believe in ghosts, but I believe that this hotel has like shut off this room because too many guests were complaining about hauntings or something.
But you don't believe in ghosts.
I don't know. I feel like people were experiencing something there, but I don't know.
You think that's like the devil? Some demons?
No, it could be, you know, a CO2 leak or something. No, I don't know. But I really want it, you know. I don't necessarily think that ghosts are around, but I like the stories and I like going to these places where like crazy stuff.
Have you ever had a ghost encounter? An encounter of the ghost kind?
When I was growing up, my friend told me she saw like our friend like appear above her bed one time or something. That was creepy. As a kid, I was like so much more open to the mysteries of the world. Like me and my friend Tom, we would try to like have psychic communications at night. We'd be like, like I believed in this stuff. I don't know what happened to me.
Did you ever hear anything from Tom?
I would pretend like we were meeting up. Like, you know, in your mind, you're like, we're in this like weird space hanging out. And we would talk about it later, but I'm sure it never added up.
There was nothing ever that we
Yeah.
were kind of like, oh, I also was thinking this exact thing.
Yeah.
It was kind of like, we did it.
Yeah, not really. My friend Amy, she like claimed she had predicted something bad was happening when this like fire happened. There's like all sorts of crazy stuff. And she also found a kid drowning one time. Like we were in a pool and she's like talking to the lifeguard, like, that kid's drowning. And he like saved the kid. And then I made her like a trophy.
You made her a trophy?
I was like, you're a hero.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. I feel like my friend Amy, who's now just like a mom living in North Carolina, we don't talk at all, but she was one of the people that really like not played. I don't think she was trying to get anything out of it, but I was so gullible as a child, and she would always, you know, take me along for the ride. Like, you're psychic. Yeah. You just saved that kid's life. And then like, you're an alien. Sure.
Yeah.
But I don't know when that all turned around. Like, I don't know. I think it's partly anxiety that like transferred to other things. Like for a while I was using like prayer as a kid as a way to like obsess, kind of. Like I had to say certain things before bed through prayer every day.
To protect you from things? Or...
Yeah, it'd be like I was so scared of like the lake of fire and Christian. This is taking a turn. We can talk for hours.
Come on, yeah. I'd love to hear. Yeah.
As a kid, I was definitely like OCD. Like for a while, I was making wishes in my brain, and I had to unwish them. Like that's clear OCD stuff.
Sure.
Like
I don't know,
like,
but yeah.
I wish something horrible. Like I wish my family would die, and I'd be like, I don't wish. Like that was like the anxiety I was suffering through. And eventually, I got into the church. Like I told my family about this, and they're like, yeah, you should go see the preacher. You're baptized, and like. You know, it's not an exact causal chain, but because I was associated with the church, learning about like the lake of fire and stuff, not that you know, Christianity is a positive thing, but for me personally, it was like triggering my anxiety in certain ways.
Sure.
So it all started, even before that, I would have to say certain words with my dad before I went to bed. Like, there's no monsters. And so it just like transformed from anxiety to anxiety. And I guess it goes to show you, even if you're a religious person, like, you know, therapy is important. Like if a kid is having problems, you should. But so every night I'd be like, I hope that everyone I know or will know or have ever known will not die in the lake of fire. And like, please forgive me for all the sins I have committed, am committing, or will ever commit. Like I was doing all this math in my head.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, how did we get there?
I don't know how we got there, but how did you get out of that?
I don't know. That I guess that's what, thinking about the anxieties of my life of the spooky ghosts and stuff. I guess just through like analyzing it, or like, I don't know. You know, sometimes I'm still anxious about a lot of things, but
Do you still pray?
sometimes.
Does that help?
But it's not. Yeah, it's not an anxiety reaction.
What is it?
Good question. It's, I don't know. It's like, I want to change my life a little bit. Help me out, you know? But at the time, it was like, I have to say these certain things, or like people I know will go to hell.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah, that's so interesting. So, do you feel like, did you ever get baptized?
Yeah.
When was that?
When I was like, 9 or 8 or 9, something like that.
But that wasn't it sounded like your family wasn't very religious.
No, they were.
Oh,
yeah.
they were. Oh, okay. Sorry. So you were kind of raised in that.
Yeah. And so it's sort of, my anxiety like transferred over to these other symbols. It's like, you know, symbols that your brain latches onto or whatever.
I don't know what that means, actually. What is that? Yeah,
Well,
so
like,
I was trying to compute
Before I was super religious, you know, as a child, when I wasn't like, it was like a genie in my mind that I was making wishes to, you know. That was one way my anxiety manifests. And then it became, I'm praying to God for these very specific loophole rules that will get me out of
Get
this.
you out of it, yeah.
And then I don't know where it actually went after that. You know, I was just pretty anxious for a long time.
And is that that view of spirituality?
I don't even think it's a view of spirituality. I think it's a view of mental problems. It's like, yeah,
sure.
People use spirituality when they're not super anxious as a way to process the world and all that.
So is that? Well, I guess what I was asking was like, so it's no longer like you aren't experiencing maybe that same level of anxiety like about the lake of fire.
Yeah, no. So I think that I had a mental problem, and my parents were like, here's the solution, it's Christianity. But there's also another layer that can go on, you know, like therapy and mental health. Even if you're religious, there's an added, you know.
Yeah, you can do both.
If
Yeah,
you can enter into spirituality in a mentally healthy place, it's better.
Yeah, I'm tracking with you. Yeah, yeah. So, having that had therapy, is that what helped you out of it?
Yeah, I wish I could do therapy. I don't have insurance, but yeah, I've done therapy now, and I feel like that helps. Or just talking to people and reading about. I read a lot of books, so it's like, yeah, there's a lot of self-help books out there, and like realizing that I'm like a sensitive person is like, you know, that's like a genetic thing or like some predisposition to sensitivity, where like I was anxious and my friend was saying, I'm an alien. I'm like, I believe you because I'm sensitive. I don't know.
Oh, interesting.
And like, I think it's all tied in. I think ADHD is sensitivity. ADHD is a symptom of oversensitivity in the brain. Not oversensitivity, but that you're a sensitive
Like
person.
hypersensitive, is that?
Yeah. Or just like, yeah. You're like, I don't know. There's this author, Gabor Mate, that I think, now I'm just on tangent after tangent, but this guy works in Vancouver with like super addicted drug users, and he's super ADHD, But he believes that like things that happen to you when you're a baby can like really like affect your whole life. And like
even things you don't even remember, like at all, like or consciously maybe.
And that was a problem. I did try therapy for a while, and my therapist kept trying to be like, "What did your parents do?" Like they want you to blame your parents for some reason. And I think my parents are good people that did their best, you know. But if you're sensitive, and your parents, you know, they're human beings. They might be stressed when you're a little baby and you're like, Mom, look at me. And she won't because she's like stressed out about something. And if you're extra sensitive to emotions, which is tripled when you're a child, I mean, like a baby, like babies only really see an emotion. And so then that can like compound in your brain as you grow. It's like your foundation. And that's where like ADHD comes from a little bit, I think.
I feel like I learned so much.
I don't know if I'm just...
I don't know either, but I believed it. Maybe I'm just too sensitive. I'm not sure, but I
you should look up Gaber Mate. He has a book called Scattered Minds, and then one called In the Land of Hungry Ghosts.
Those are great titles.
Yeah, Scattered Minds about ADHD, Land of Hungry Ghosts is about addiction. But yeah, I think he's just a compassionate genius that happens to live in Vancouver and
Vancouver, Washington, that is, or
Canada.
Oh, of course.
But he was like raised by people. I think he was born during the Holocaust, and so like he obviously has like the most extreme version of this. Of,
I'm sure. Yeah.
Like if you're a sensitive child and the Holocaust is happening, that's crazy. Like he was raised by a woman who wasn't his mom for like a year when he was a baby. Like, yeah,
he knows some stuff. Is what we're trying to say.
Yeah, he sees some shit. And then along that lines, I also read. Oh gosh. There's another there's this guy that made up a whole theory of logotherapy. He was in the Holocaust and noticed, I mean, it's kind of might be a problematic conclusion today, but he noticed that people in the Holocaust who were like doing the best were like the ones with like hope. I don't know. Or like a purpose. They're like, I'm going to get out because my girlfriend's waiting on me or something. Viktor Frankl. What was this book called? Where is it? People are yelling at me at home about Viktor Frankl, you know. Man's Search for Meaning.
Man's Search for Meaning.
And if you can make meaning out of anything.
Now, what's your purpose? What's your meaning?
Well, right now or lately, it's been to get better at comedy. That's my.
That's your purpose.
And like be a good husband and figure stuff out.
Be a better comedian. Be a good husband. Figure stuff out. Timmy's purpose.
I need to reread this book now. And yeah, when you lose your like path forward, it can be tough. I feel like I'm a little on this fritz lately because I had a nice job and I got laid off, and so I'm all about that man's search for meaning.
Yeah, you're trying to get oriented.
Yeah,
in a way. Yeah. I have one last question for you. Do you still have a faith that like in Christianity at all, or is that something that you have left behind from your roots in North Carolina?
Left behind like the trailer. I don't go to church or anything. I feel like it can provide help, and I don't know. I don't engage with it actively every day, but I dabble in those kind of thoughts, like that sci-fi book, Gene Wolfe, he is a Catholic late in life.
Yeah.
I'm always like, I could go back to it. I don't know. I would say it's something. It's like always there in the back of my mind, like my Christian upbringing, but it's not something I engage with actively.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah. Is there anything that you hope that I would have asked you that I didn't?
I don't know. It's like, please stop talking. I felt like we went down such a rabbit hole. I hope it's okay.
Oh no, it's great. Yeah. I feel like I had a lot of fun. Yeah, just getting to know you. I feel like ever since I saw you at the Secret Show, I was like, I'd like to talk to this guy more.
Yeah, it's been fun.
Yeah, you're very funny.
Thank you.
Yeah, any shows here in Seattle?
Oh, let's see. I'm going on vacation next week, so nothing there. I'm doing, let's see. Oh, Wackronyms. Me and my friend Gaby are doing the world's first ever word-based comedy game show. It's never been done.
Until
October 25th at the
October.
Hereafter at 8 p.m.
Wackronyms.
Check us out on Instagram, WACKRONYMS.
That sounds fun. That's a premiere of a worldwide, or not worldwide necessarily, not yet. But
Yeah, a
the
phenomenon.
world's first. Yeah.
There's going to be viral videos, people disappearing to go to Wackronyms.
Yeah, dude, they're going to
all
show
those
up.
kids will
And
appear
then,
there.
yeah, the whole audience is going to disappear.
Yeah. If you want to disappear, come to the Hereafter
Wow,
on October 25th.
We'll put that in the show notes. I can't wait to see the videos.
Yeah.
And see the body cam footage and
Yeah. And the theater people being like, I thought there was a show in here.
like there was no show. I swear. Okay, yeah. Thanks, Timmy. I appreciate hopping on the podcast.
Thanks,
and
Mike.
hanging out. Yeah. Stay funny and stay weird. Peace. As we joked about your mama, we were clowning, like Wild and Out. SNL was comedy. In our oddly a funny world. We all live in an oddly funny world. Oddly funny world. Oddly funny world. We all live in an oddly funny world. Oddly funny world. Oddly funny world. Y'all live in an oddly funny world. An oddly funny world. Oddly funny world. We all live in an oddly funny world. Oddly funny world. Oddly funny world.
Great shot.